expects them to do anything. Jackson Dart's glitching out into hero mode and suddenly chucking the ball to receivers at random. And it worked? Seriously, how the fuck did this foolishness succeed? The ref ball was insanely heinous. This is not roughing the passer. This is not defensive pass interference.
All right. I guess this video has to happen then. Starlight, Starbright, last star you see tonight. I am the last real stargazer, Saturn J Blues, or Blues if you're nasty. I'm in my human form because I don't have enough power to maintain my true form, my stargazer form. But that's going to be, a good thing here because this is kind of a serious conversation. And yes, I do sound tired. I've tried recording this several times. And that's the downside of not using a script and just speaking with your heart and mind. That's the downside of it. Okay. Basically, I just wanted to kind of talk about where my mind is currently. The clip that you guys saw before is from my favorite sports YouTuber, Urinating Tree. They've done a lot of videos that I like. Days of Our Steelers is like a hood classic to me. Fucking his video on Houston, Texas, like the sports team there, is top notch. The video on the Maple Leafs never winning is amazing. And his Sports Ball, which is the weekly series that he does during the NFL season, is great. And I always count the days until he starts it. But during that, during the latest Sports Ball Week video is where that clip comes from. I don't care about what he's saying. Like vocally, I'm looking at the caption. And seeing that caption, not gonna lie, it made me sad. It actually made me sad. Because one, for people that don't know what that word means, let's do this together, okay? So before woke was, degraded and dragged to the mud and just used to be this thing that I don't like. Basically, it is an adjective derived from African American English used since the 1930s or earlier to refer to awareness of racial prejudice and discrimination, often in the construction stay woke. The term acquired political connotations by the 1970s and gained further popularity in the 2010s with the hashtag stay woke. So that word has had meaning in the Black community because, hey, if you look at me and if you hear me, my human form is that of an American Black male. Even if I wasn't a stargazer, I would still be an American Black male. I take pride in what I am, and I don't hide what I am. That's who and what I am. So seeing a word like that wasn't something that was thrown around back in the day. You know what I mean? But since the 2010s and everyone started to use it, and it became just this thing of, yeah, we hate everything that is inclusive or anything like that, and then it just degraded further to, I don't like that thing, and we've seen it happen a lot. Like Black Americans, we've seen words that have deeper meaning be bastardized and used as just nothing but a political catchphrase for deplorable people. So we're used to that. But this one actually hurts the most because it's like, not only is it a super bastardized version being used here, it's also used as a I know what you are type deal. And it's not like that thing like how do I describe it? The only people that use, that word in that meaning without any without any prompting is typically very is a deplorable person. Only the reddest of rubies. And for me, I used to be someone who would judge people by who they are and not what they are. And I miss that version, truly, because nowadays I don't have that trust anymore. Like, I used to be a trustful person, but I realized that I've become very jaded, not only by, the people, surrounding me, by the people I watch. There's always that little inkling, whether I'm enjoying somebody's content of, I wonder if he thinks, minorities are, terrible people, or if he thinks people in that LGBTQ community are, demons, or illegal immigrants are eating cats and dogs and all of that. I can't watch something anymore and not wonder, especially if I'm watching, sad to say, if I'm watching a white American. And it's sad to say that, because I want to give the benefit of doubt. But it's like, if someone listens or talks to me, are they giving me that benefit of doubt? Do they see me as just a person, or do they see me as a representative of where I come from? Which is what a lot of people do. And anyone that says I don't do that, sure, you probably don't. But what about your friend, your sister, your brother, your mom, your dad, your grandparents, especially your grandparents? I used to be able to trust that people were inherently good people. And now I don't have that trust. So, like, even though, I have nothing against urinating tree, and again, I'm a fan of his, I have to now really, like, watch. Because if I'm supporting someone that is using that word without any warning, and using it in the way that people use the word woke now, then I have to be mindful. I have to go, okay, maybe this person is cool with, people like me. Maybe I'm lucky. He just used that because it's, he doesn't know the meaning. But again, I always go back to, why should I give that benefit of doubt? Would anyone give me that benefit of doubt? If you saw me walking down the street, even with, my Legend of Zelda hoodie and a big smile on my face listening to music, what would you see? Some would say they see just a normal person. Others would say he's a criminal waiting to unleash his blackness around on everybody. And or I can take it, outside of the cartoony way. Just go, he's not a person. He's 3/5 of a human being. I don't see him as a person. I see him as something evil, and we need to hide him away. We need to put him in a fucking alligator cage, and then where he'll be disappeared and no one will know where he is. Because that's also happening, that's happening to a lot of people. It's just sad that I have to vet, and it's not just YouTubers either, like when I'm watching a TV show, when I'm watching a movie, I can't fully enjoy it like I used to, because it's like, where are you sitting? Like, where are your morals? Where, like, are you a good person? Or are you someone that, Anne Frank is hiding from? like I said, we live in that world where I've realized that a lot of, the people that I've hung out with, that are, white Americans and such, or, you know, have revealed themselves to be the people that would rat out Anne Frank and get her in a camp. And I've had to, cut t- I've had to cut ties with them because that's not who I am. I can't be friends with someone who would rat out Anne Frank. I can't watch someone who would rat out Anne Frank. That's where I'm sitting at right now. Like, I have to stick with my morals, and I can't support someone that doesn't even see, you know, and it doesn't matter if they go, oh yeah, black people are fine, but not the illegal immigrants, not the, you know, even if it's that doesn't matter. I still couldn't rock with you because you're still dehumanizing another human being. And if you use the terms that people like that use, then yeah, I'm gonna look at you funny, and I'm gonna have to think twice of, engaging in, either the friendship or, your content, because I don't want to support someone like that. And it sucks because, like I said, lost a lot of friendships, like finding that out that there are people that I would legitimately go, you would rat out Anne Frank if you had to, because you don't see people as humans, you dehumanize them. Like, do you know how frightening that is? Like, I it's a horrible realization to make. And someone once said, to be a woke black American in America is to be perpetually angry because what you're seeing is constant injustice, constant prejudice. And you're also seeing and wishing for a better world. And that's true. A lot of people don't understand, but a lot of the things that people want in this world are not there because of that type of hatred. And it's all around us. Ask yourself, why aren't there, public pools in the South when there used to be plenty of them? Ask yourself, the ice cream jingle. Yes, even the ice cream jingle has racist connotations, has a racist history. Or let's look at the big one. Free healthcare, something that Americans have needed forever. Even the busted version of our healthcare is as fucked as it is because people, they only want one type of person to have it and no one else to have it. All like, and it all goes back to there has to be an in group and an out group, and everyone feels that if you're not a certain way, then you're part of that out group. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Everything ties back to it. And a lot of people will either, like, from the reddest or rubies, will, attack and deny. They'll deny it all. The purples will hem and haw and try to both sides it. And even the blues and sapphires will sit there and try to say, oh, we need to vote for this person because they believe in the things I believe in. Sure, they're, racist and misogynistic, and they have a NZ, tattoo on their chest for 20 years that they always known it was that type. But it doesn't matter to us. We need somebody to support. We need someone to support what we support, even if they don't like your kind. A lot of stuff is happening, and like in those outside of, the United States. It's not just the United States that suffers from it. I've been around the world. I understand. I know. You know, ask UK about Romani people. Or I even need to bring up, Palestinians. What about Indians? How do you feel about Indians? Do you, any of these group of people, for example, do you see them as people, or have you dehumanized them to the point where they're just vermin? And sometimes it's hard to reckon with that. It's hard to look at yourself in the mirror and go, maybe I'm not as good as I thought. Because I'll tell you right now, there are times where I feel like I'm veering too close to the edge, where I'm veering, into this deep, unsettling hatred because of how everything is turning out in the world. I can understand it. It's hard to look in a mirror and say, maybe I'm not as good as I thought. But what do you do in that moment? Do you hide? Do you deny? Do you shake your head? Do you get angry that, oh, this person made me face that I'm not good? I'm going to intentionally do worse things to prove that I'm not that type of person, even though I'm doing worse things. Or do you face up to it and go, yeah, I'm not a good person, but I can be better. I can change. And even then, if you choose the latter, it's not up for people to forgive you. People can deny your redemption. They could say, I'm glad you're a good person, but I don't forgive you for this thing you did to me, for the things you said about me, for the things you said about people like me. You continue to work on yourself, and I'm happy that you're working on yourself, but that doesn't mean that, there's a connection here. Because if you're doing it just to get back into someone's good graces, then you're hiding. You're that amethyst, you're the purple. You have to be able, when you want to change, it doesn't matter if the person you're looking at forgives you or not. In your heart, you continue to march forward and say, you know what, they may not forgive me, but I'll do better in the future. Oh, fuck. But yeah, it's not been a good day. It's been rough, and it makes me sad. All of this just makes me sad. It just didn't have to be this way, but it is. And for people like me, we're seeing all the masks come off, and that makes us a lot less, trusting people than we used to be. And for me, someone who's always touted of having friends of every race, of friends inside the country, outside the country, it's hard to realize that your friends aren't the people that you thought they were. And it's hard, when you watch, somebody's content on this thing, somebody you genuinely enjoy, it's hard to realize, oh, this person may actually either not know or know and don't care about how they're using that word, or, oh, this is their dog, was let them know, oh, I'm on your side. I don't know. And that's the thing. And I think that's the biggest issue too, is you don't know. Because some people could just be using it because, they don't know the meaning of the word. Doesn't mean they're like, they rock with, deplorable people. They just don't know the meaning of the word. Like, you just don't know that. And then you don't know their temperament on when you find out. It's just hard to know. And I think a lot of people are kind of like, well, I just don't even want to figure out either way it goes, so I'm just gonna leave. Because that does happen. I'm lucky enough and unlucky enough to vet out the people that I've known for a long time and go, oh, okay, you're actually a bad person. Like, I can't be friends with you like that. it's just a rough time, ain't it? This has been a long conversation, but I wanted to get it out there because I feel like it's a conversation that needs to happen. You know, it's something that, you know, everyone's dealing with, especially minorities, like minorities, people in the LGBTQ community. And I say it, I'm not gonna separate LGBT, the T from LGBT. No, it's LGBTQ. That's the whole thing, because you don't separate. That's how bad things happen. If you try to separate, try to go, oh yeah, you know, we're part of, only like the three of us in this group are important. Not this one, not that one. No, they're not important. You know, we're gonna sacrifice them to keep ourselves safe. That's not good. You're not a good person. If not one of us has the freedom, none of us do. It's only when all of us are able to stand together and be free, that's when freedom occurs. And that's how I feel it is. Anyway, I am SJ Blues, a blues if you're nasty, the last real stargazer. And yeah, that's thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I think that'll be the best way I end it, huh?